Hi, I'm Nicolai Solling. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Help AG Middle East. And I'm joined here today with Tarek Abbas he's a Senior SE Director at Palo Alto Networks for the emerging markets. And the reason why we're here today is that Palo Alto just released version 10.2 of the PanOS operating system. Obviously, every time Palo Alto they release a new release of their software, it's really interesting to read release notes because there's always so many good things in the platforms. And I think Palo Alto Networks has a legacy of delivering new cool features in every single release. And Tarek, maybe you can talk a little bit about, first of all, when we can start utilizing the new release, but also which kind of features you're introducing.
Of course, thanks Nicolai for having me. So we call the 10.2 internally by the code name Nebula, and that's how we're also marketing it externally. It becomes a little bit hard to follow 10.1, 10.2, so many times the code names make it easier. We've introduced Nebula around mid-February, and it's one of the most exciting releases that we have. I think Palo Alto has a legacy of innovation, and what we have introduced in 10.2 in Nebula takes our innovation to the next level. There are a lot of patent pending innovations that we've done in Nebula, and I'll be happy to go over them. But the main thing that we are introducing to our firewalls, which is, we're the first in the industry to do that, is machine learning capabilities. And we've introduced that with the previous version, with 10.1, but in 10.2, we've taken that significant step forward by introducing deep learning capabilities across our infrastructure, which allow us to stop zero-day attacks in real time. And that's a huge advantage to our partners and to our customers, and should significantly help our customers be better prepared for tougher times ahead.
Okay, good. Palo Alto always had a great, they've always been front runners when it came to utilizing artificial intelligence. Yeah. I still remember when Wildfire released the malware analysis service that Palo Alto is utilizing in their firewalls, which is a cloud-delivered service. Utilizing artificial intelligence to be able to detect if a file was malicious or not was part of the first release, and then in 10.1, as you recall, we had now the capability of being able to detect, utilizing again machine learning on the platform directly, if a file would potentially be malicious and therefore needed analysis in the cloud environment, which meant that we didn't have to submit every single file to the cloud anymore. It was only the ones that looked suspicious. So tell me a little bit more about, specifically in Nebula, where you're utilizing this capability around AI and deep learning.
Yeah, so thanks for this question. So, with machine learning, with deep learning and artificial intelligence, there are a couple of things you need to do to be able to fully utilize it. First, you need to increase computing power. And we have introduced computing power on our platforms by introducing two new series of firewalls, the 3400s and the 5400s. But with what also we've done, we've increased the computing power back at our cloud infrastructure, which allows us to analyze data 6 times faster. What this allows us to do, it allows us to move into real-time, inline, preventive security. What happens now, we have built an underlying ultra-fast infrastructure that connects our firewalls globally. So when traffic hits your firewall, the data is taken, sent to the cloud, analyzed, while the packet is being held in the firewall. Computation happens super fast using deep learning on the cloud. Then a judgment comes to the firewall whether to allow the data to go through or whether to allow the data to be blocked and the connection blocked. And this is a significant improvement in the way we do security, because it can happen now in real time with ultra low latency. And that makes our customer much safer and allows them to go around their business in a much more aggressive manner.
That's cool. It's dealing with this concept of patient zero, right? Because yes, you always have this issue with most solutions today that the first time that a new malicious component is seen, it would typically be let through until you have analyzed it, right? And that means that you have this concept of a patient zero. And unfortunately, we're working in a very asymmetric industry in cybersecurity, where we have to be right every single time on the prevention side, but the attackers, they only have to be right once. So obviously, being able to deliver the right timeline of that is really, really important. So on Tender 2, if you had to pick out one favorite feature out of all of the features that Palo Alto have released, what would that be?
Yeah, I know there will be a tough question in the discussion, and this is a tough one. We've introduced a lot of new capabilities, most of them around, as I said, utilizing machine learning. We've enhanced our DNS security. We have now advanced URL filtering, advanced threat prevention. We've enhanced our IoT capabilities. If I have to pick one, probably advanced URL filtering would be something that I really recommend our customers to adopt as quickly as they can. Advanced URL filtering introduces the capability to protect in real time and minimizes the dependencies on databases, the traditional way of having a database, looking at the URLs on the web and protecting them. With advanced URL filtering, customers can move to real-time web analysis, because as you know, there are short-lived links that are circling around the web, one-time links as well. There can be compromised websites where the URL can be safe, but then the data that comes across is not safe. And this is what advanced URL filtering helps you, is to analyze data in real time by sending them to the cloud, where we run our analysis, and then the judgment comes to the firewall, and if the traffic is safe, it goes. And this does not minimize the dependency on the traditional way of doing URL filtering, but combines a more innovative method to have a better security approach.
Many of these features, when you look through the release notes, there's a lot of things that are very, very interesting. If you haven't upgraded already, even if you haven't upgraded to version 10, I really recommend you to start looking into having an upgrade path in place. Of course, Help AG, being the largest Palo Alto partner in the region, we're more than capable of assisting our clients and new clients with advising them on their upgrade path. And you know what? If you run Palo Alto hardware that's still relatively new, then this is really just a question of upgrading the software, which kind of leads me into to the next question. Which platforms support this specific release?
So all the platforms that have been released in the last 5 to 7 years, more or less, support it. So the software is backward compatible, so we're not forcing people to move to new hardware. That being said, we are also introducing new platforms that has new chipsets on them and that also support Nebula. On top of that, keep in mind that to support a lot of the advancements in technology, a lot depends on the compute power, right? And because we have improved our compute power in our cloud by up to 6 times, this also minimizes the dependency on the devices that are deployed locally, and thus you can still use the old firewalls that you have, and this gives our customers a huge benefit when it comes to total cost of ownership, because with every feature, the features that we introduce are backward compatible.
Yeah. No doubt about that, cloud delivers capability to deal with some of this heavy lifting, because you can just scale it indefinitely if you want to, and then make sure that you have the right intelligence to deliver the right data to the cloud, so that you can make the right decision on that smart edge device. When I talk to our SOC manager, he always talks about how do we deliver the right level of threat prevention and threat detection in the edge, and that is exactly what these kind of capabilities are delivering. Obviously, being able to install an operating system that you're releasing now here in 2022 on a platform that was potentially released in 2017 also, it's also a positive thing when it comes to total cost of ownership. And but it's not just that. All of these features and innovations you're delivering in the cloud, of course, also adds up to that. So if you had to tie a few words to how Palo Alto's approach supports a good total cost of ownership, what would that be?
Yeah. Well, I would look at it from 2 perspectives. The first perspective is the technology itself, and then the other perspective is how it enables our partners to also support our customers in a more efficient manner. So I'll touch on probably a few things over here. First, as we mentioned, the technology that we introduce is backward compatible with a lot of the hardware that we have on the ground that's installed all over the world. The second thing, many of the features that we introduce, such as our IoT subscription, minimizes the need for our customers to deploy sensors, thus improving their total cost of ownership. Another tool that we have introduced in Nebula is AIOps. And AIOps is our smart way of allowing our customers and our partners as well to look at their deployment, understand where their security gaps are, understand as well if they're utilizing our platform to its full capabilities, which also increases their security capabilities and thus increasing their total cost of ownership and the utilization of the products that they have. But it also allows them to look at the operational side of our firewalls, along, whether they're running it or our partners are doing that, and they can predict up to 7 days in advance what potential operational problems the firewalls might have, and thus proactively addressing that and making sure that there is no disruption to their business.
That's fantastic. As I said, a lot of great reasons for looking at how to upgrade your platforms from whatever release you're running today to version 10. If you're not already looking into the ecosystem of Palo Alto, maybe that's also something that's worth doing. Help AG is the largest Palo Alto partner in the region, and we also have the highest level and the highest number of certified engineers, 2 of them being recognized on a global level as some of the highest individual contributors in the Palo Alto security community. I'm of course super proud around this team. I'm really excited about having worked with Palo Alto since version 3.0 of the software, up until today, where we're talking about version 10. And I invite you to, of course, have a chat with us about how to work with Help AG on your Palo Alto infrastructure and products. Thank you very much, Tarek, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.